Today I'm going to show you how to do a super easy beginner project with Infusible Ink. Oh fuck. Welcome to my furnace room. This is my home printing studio setup. It is literally in my furnace room. For this project, you're just going to need a couple things. One is the Cricut Infusible Ink pattern or color of your choice. I am using the leopard. It comes with the leopard pattern and a brown color, which is quite nice. You're gonna need a shirt to print on. I'm using a Cricut brand Infusible Ink shirt, but you don't have to. You can use any brand. The important thing is that it has a polyester content. So the Cricut ones are 100% polyester, so it's going to show up really nice and bright on those. But you can also use this with as low as 50% polyester, but it's going to have a bit more of a vintage faded sort of feeling. You also need a weeding tool. This is my favorite one. It's just a little pin on a stick, but it's very effective. You're also going to need a heat press. I'll quickly show you mine. This is my heat press. I'm going to be replacing it pretty soon with a Stahl's brand heat press. I'm very excited for that upgrade. Mine is just, it's on the fritz. And you also need a Cricut cutting machine, of course. So I have the Cricut Explore Air 2. I actually also have the little Joy over there, that guy. Either of those would work for the project. Fun fact, didn't realize my mic wasn't recording for my screen session, so I'm just doing this handy little voiceover after the fact. Anyway, I'm in Cricut Design Space right now, and I'm just typing the simple text-based design of this shirt. And you'll see I'm actually typing it as 3 separate pieces, 3 separate lines of text, because I want to adjust their spacing later on, which you're going to see me do right now. So I click on the word coffee in this case and hit ungroup at the top, and this lets me choose each letter individually. So I do this because I want to make sure they're nicely spaced. I think the correct design term for that is kerning, but I'm no designer. At least I want to try and make it look nice. So it lets me pick each letter, and I'm just adjusting the space back and forth to, just make it look cohesive and all the same width. And in order to get them to make sure it's lined up exactly straight after, because I am kind of moving it around, you can select the whole word and then go up at the top and hit align to bottom. After I'm done adjusting the letters here, like I am in Anxiety, I select the whole word and go align to bottom. So now I'm just adjusting the spacing in between the words. I have selected the whole word, so I'm moving and dragging the whole word. And then I went up to the top, align left. Once again, select the whole piece, and then near the bottom right, hit weld. So let's get started making this. I'm just going to open up the shirt here. Okay, shirt. So the first thing you want to do is measure how big you want your design. So the shirt's a little bigger than I thought. I think it's going to be nice and baggy. So I'm going to make sure to keep the design pretty in the center. I don't want to lose it, kind of like under my armpits, like when your shirt goes under your arms. So I'm just going to measure how wide to make the design here. Normally I would say like 9 inches. 9 to 10 inches is kind of a standard full front of a shirt. I think for this one I'm going to do 10. We're going to open up our Infusible Ink. I'm literally the worst at opening packages. Like, I'm that person in the movie theater when they're opening their candy that it's probably going to fly at you if you're sitting in front of me. Okay, so you'll see that your Infusible Ink is in this black wrapper when you open it. Okay, so the important pieces that you're gonna have are your actual sheets here, the pattern, and then there's the brown one underneath. And then this, which is like a thin parchment paper almost, and that's gonna go on top when you press your shirt, and I'll explain that later, but let's just set this aside for now. it's important to not touch this too much because you don't want to get the oils and stuff from your fingers on it, because apparently it can mess with that. So we're not gonna touch it too much. Another voiceover. Okay, so now we're actually gonna cut it out and get it ready to cut out for our machine. So first I'm gonna change the size. Remember earlier I said I wanted to make it 10 inches. So you're just gonna click on the welded image and go up to the top where it says size and type 10 in the width. It'll automatically adjust the height as well, as long as the little lock proportions icon is checked there. So once that is all done, you can select your Cricut machine. Again, you can use anything for this project, but I'm going to use my Explorer just because of the size. You hit make it, it'll do some thinking. Okay, and for this, the most important thing is to check mirror on. Super important. Don't forget that, it has to be mirrored. And I personally just kind of drag mine away from the edges a little bit, just in case I don't load my material super nicely. Hit continue. It's gonna find the machine. Oh, and this is where I screwed up. So I still had my machine set to iron on. You can see there the material. So we need to change that. So I canceled that cut. On my machine, I changed the knob to the custom setting right on top of the machine. And then you hit browse all materials and you can pick anything from there or just search in the box. So we want Infusible Ink transfer sheet. So I'm gonna select that. Now we're ready to cut. Just make sure that your mirror is turned on. That is super important. So now I'm gonna prep my mat. For this, like I could have just used the 12 by 12 size mat, but I don't have any in the standard grip right now, so I'm using my giant 12 by 24 one, which is a little overkill, but whatever, it works. I am just gonna use the leopard print Infusible ink for this, so I'm gonna set the brown one aside. So, important thing about Infusible ink, you wanna put it pattern size up. So line it up to the top of your mat here. Again, I'm not great at lining things up generally. But yeah, line it up to the top of your mat, pattern side up, and just give it a nice, you know, push down. I know you're not supposed to touch it with your hands very much, but you know, what else are you supposed to do here? So stick it down and we're ready to cut. So to load it nicely, I line it up in there and then kind of holding from the back of the mat or even the middle for these long mats, I just kind of push it like I'm putting a slight pressure that way, and then I'm hitting my flashing load mat button here on this side, but I'm kind of like having some pressure that way. That just kind of helps feed it through, and then you can let go when it's actually loaded it. But I found that just helps it load straight every time. We're ready to cut. So all you have to do is just, I don't know, you can double check that your settings are correct on your screen. And then all you have to do is come over to your machine and press the flashing cut button. Yeah, it's just cutting it out now. So once you've cut it out and unloaded the mat, it's time to weed it. So first we got to get it off the mat. I like to pick a corner and then just kind of peel slowly because you don't want to crease it or, oh, see? Just like opening packages. I'm not the best at this, but just go slow. You can kind of, I'll show you what I'm doing, kind of like walk your fingers underneath, kind of pushing the mat away from the paper more than the paper away from the mat, if that makes any sense at all. Just kind of walking it out. Just go super slow so you don't crease it, because the last thing you want after doing all this is to ruin your design by just being too impatient, which I have been known to do. I am very impatient. Like right now. This last corner, I'm like, come on. Fuck. But slow, calm, serenity now. There we go. Okay, so probably won't show very good on the camera, but I'll try and show you. First, I'm just gonna put my mat away because I am very particular about my stuff and I have limited space. Okay, so you'll be left with your sheet like this, and I don't know if it's gonna pick up or show at all, but there's like, you can see the cut marks in the material. We'll just go ahead and start weeding because it'll be more apparent that way. So I'm gonna grab my weeding tool. This is my favorite kind, but any of the weeding tools work. Cricut one looks like this, so that's a popular option. Unlike vinyl, the easiest way to get started, I always forget, is just to pick at a corner with your thumbnail, and then it'll start to separate. And you just want to kind of go, I'm trying to see where my design is. There we go. Go slow, go a little faster here because I don't have anything printed here. So just again, go slow because we don't want to damage our design by being hasty. Because unlike vinyl, this is a paper, so it can really lift off the carrier quite easily. So it can be a little slower to weed just because you don't want to lose anything. So I always just kind of take it slow, especially with letters and the spaces in between letters. I'm just kind of slowly peeling as you go. Mine seems to have cut really evenly so far, so a couple pieces get stuck. You can just take your weeder, just like with vinyl if you've done that before, or if you haven't and you're only just starting with this, you know, just kind of take that and poke up the pieces that are needing a little extra help coming unstuck. Just kind of poke it. That's why I like this pokey one, because you're literally just poking it up instead of having to try and dig with the curved one. But to each their own. It's just a matter of preference, whatever works for you. So I'm just going to continue weeding this.
We're driving down the boulevard, cruising with the windows down, feeling like we run this town. Your song is on the radio, the one you always like, the one that always gets you psyched. We've been drinking all the cheap wine all night, acting stupid but it feels so right. I know that we will all be.
Just get one layer of the shirt here instead of having both layers. Just gonna make sure it's nice and, you know, centered and stuff. And something you want to do anytime you're working with sublimation is to put something between the fabric and your press, or the easy press mat if that's what you're using. So I just use plain copy paper, and you just want to put this wherever your design is gonna go. So I'm just gonna slip it here in the collar. I don't know how far my design's gonna go. We'll just put two pieces, just because if you do get ink, sublimation ink, or in this case Infusible ink Infusible ink on your platen or your surface, it's pretty much never going to come off, and you've just ruined that. But you don't want to ruin your press. So this is just an alignment tool I got from Cut & Corners Vinyl. She has a great YouTube channel with lots of tutorials if you're interested in that. But it helps just kind of line things up. So again, I'm just making sure it's straight. I take my lint roller, do a nice little roll that just gets out anything that the transfer could stick to. Okay, so first we need to preheat our shirt. Well, not really preheat, but you want to just get all the wrinkles out if there are any, and all the kind of, I don't know, moisture or whatever's in your shirt. So this is a Teflon sheet. This is what I use to cover my vinyl designs before I press them. Or if you're using the Easy Press, you just cover it with these sheets that it gave you. And then I'm just gonna do this for 5 seconds. Okay. Mine always sticks to my platen. Okay, so it's always a little hot to the touch when you do that. So to find the center of this, you want to fold it, not the sticky side, like the non-sticky side, and then just kind of line up the design, and then just do a little crease here at the top. Or you can just look, like my center line happens to be the end of this S here, so it's pretty simple. And then you want to do, for a regular neck kind of t-shirt, 3 fingers down. For a v-neck you can go a little higher, but we're gonna place this on. Okay, and the good thing about this is that it's a pretty sticky carrier, so you can kind of stick it down. It's not gonna go anywhere on you, which is nice. So just give it a nice little push. Okay, and then we're gonna take one of our sheets that they gave you, cover it with that, and then I'm gonna cover it again with my Teflon sheet just to protect my press a bit, but that is optional. And then I'm going to press it. So we go over here. There we go. So the normal settings for the Easy Press are 385 degrees for about 40 seconds of holding it down. Obviously my heat press does that for me, so I don't need to hold it down. My heat press is kind of on the fritz, that's why I'm excited to get my new one, but I set mine for 400 at 100 seconds. And that's just because sublimation and this kind of stuff takes longer than the recommended time on this press, and yeah, it's just not super reliable lately with its output, which is why I'm getting a new one, but just have to kind of make do with this for now. So that's why my settings are a little bit off what they should be. Okay, so it's all done. Lift it up, take it off. My sheet always gets stuck. Whew. Hot, hot, hot. Okay, so this cover sheet on top of here, it's gonna be really hot, so be careful. I kind of lift mine up by a corner, and I'm just gonna put it off to the side here as well. And then you want to just let this cool off for a minute. So let it just, you don't want to move it, like you want to make sure it doesn't move, but you just want to kind of cool it down for a minute. Okay, and it's still gonna be pretty hot, but you want to lift it up and rip it off like right away in one motion. You don't want to move it or drag it around because that's going to make it smudge. So you want to just like Band-Aid, rip it off. This is honestly the hardest part. So I was gonna say take your time, but don't, because you don't really have time. You wanna just take a little corner without moving it and zip, just like that. So this is the shirt that we made. I don't know what I was thinking. I ordered like an extra large. I'm usually a medium in shirts. So this is gonna be really big, but I think it might be my working from home loungewear type shirt. So I'll do a little close up here so you can see the print. Cats, coffee, and crushing anxiety. Perfect for working at home, am I right? Infusible ink is actually really easy to use, and I hope that you make something fun with it too. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video. Apparently it helps a lot. I don't know, I'm new to YouTube, I don't know, but give it a like and follow me for some more crafting and also print business tips. Thanks so much. Bye.